Today's video is a response to a comment by subscriber Alex May, who says that his problem consonant cluster is DR in words like madre. Thanks for suggesting the topic, Alex May. I think a lot of Spanish students have a problem with this sound combination. Let's talk about it and see if we can make some improvement. The DR consonant cluster is quite common in Spanish. There are in the neighborhood of 600 Spanish words with this cluster, and while plenty of those 600 words are uncommon or unusual, some of them are so common that every native speaker says or hears them every single day. The R in the DR cluster is pronounced as a simple flap, not a trill, so it's r, not r. The D can be pronounced either as interdental D or dental D, depending on the phonetic context. I have a whole video on the difference between interdental and dental D, which you can find in my pronunciation playlist, and I recommend you check it out. A quick summary is this. Interdental D is pronounced like the TH in words like this and that, so interdental DR would be pronounced dr, dr, dr. Dental D is pronounced with the tongue on the back of the front teeth, so dental DR would be pronounced dr, dr, dr. Okay, so whether D is interdental or dental depends on where DR appears in a word and where that word appears in an utterance. Here are the rules. D is interdental when it appears in the middle of the word, or at the beginning of a word when the preceding word ends in a vowel, or R, or S. D is dental when it appears at the beginning of an utterance, or after a consonant other than R or S. Observe that in the following words, D is interdental. Ladrón, madre, padre, madrugar, tomar drogas, más dramático, los dragones. Observe that in the following examples, the same D in the same DR is dental at the beginning of an utterance or after most consonants, but becomes interdental when it follows a vowel or R or S. Droga, un drogadicto, una droga, tomar drogas. Dramático, situación dramática, muy dramático, más dramático. Dragón, el dragón, temible dragón, los dragones. All right, these are all the rules for how to pronounce the DR consonant cluster. For most students, I believe that their biggest problem in pronouncing this cluster is not pronouncing the D correctly. It's much more difficult to pronounce Spanish flapped R after English-style alveolar D. It's much less challenging to pronounce Spanish flapped R after Spanish interdental or dental D. Lots of people who have trouble with DR assume that it has something to do with their ability to pronounce Spanish flapped R, but I strongly suspect that in most cases, they actually need to tune up their pronunciation of Spanish D. As practice exercises, I recommend simply pronouncing the interdental and dental DR in isolation until you're convinced you're doing them correctly. Dr, 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 dr. Then pronounce whole words, making sure to get the D right, either interdental or dental, depending on the phonetic context. Here's a nice long list of words and personal names you can use for practice. Alejandro, almendra, Andrés, cuadro, drástico, droga, dramático, dragón, ladrido, ladrón, madre, Madrid, madrileño, madrugar, padre, Pedro, piedra, vidrio. And finally, pronounce whole sentences with DR words in them. Here are some examples of Spanish sayings with words containing DR. Extra points if you can figure out the meaning of the sayings. Por San Alejandro, el calor se va notando. Llegando San Andrés, todo el día noche es. Amor de madre es incomparable. Al ladrón nunca le falta ocasión. El perro viejo, cuando ladra, da consejo. A quien madruga, Dios lo ayuda. Dando y más dando la gotera, abre agujero en la piedra. En Madrid como en Linares, 20 mulas son 10 pares. Now there are regional variations in the pronunciation of DR. There are dialects of Spanish in Central America and the Andean highlands of South America, where instead of pronouncing the standard trilled R, natives pronounce what I refer to as alveolar fricative R. These same dialects pronounce both the TR and DR consonant clusters differently. I plan on making a whole video on this topic in the near future. Here's a little preview of that subject as it relates to the DR consonant cluster. In populations that pronounce the trilled R as an alveolar fricative, the DR consonant cluster is pronounced a little bit like the English DR at the beginning of words like drop and drama. I say a little bit like because it isn't quite the same. The Spanish version is a higher and brighter sound, and the degree of retroflexion of the R is much less. This pronunciation is extremely common throughout the highlands of Ecuador where I lived when I was younger, and I'm very familiar with it. Here are the example words from earlier pronounced with the alternative DR. Alejandro, almendra, Andrés, cuadro, drástico, droga, dramático, dragón, ladrido, ladrón, madre, Madrid, madrileño, madrugar, padre, Pedro, piedra, vidrio. There may be other regional variations of DR elsewhere in the Spanish-speaking world, but I'm unaware of them. Of course, I recommend that Spanish students do their best to imitate standard pronunciation, which is what I've spent most of this video explaining. Although you may find it easier to pronounce the regional pronunciation, there are at least 3 reasons to avoid it. First, this pronunciation of DR doesn't exist in isolation. This regional variation is associated with the alveolar fricative trilled R among other features. So if you were to try to adopt the non-standard pronunciation, you'd need to adopt all the other regionally specific aspects of the dialect, and you have no way of knowing what all those features are. Second, as a non-native speaker of Spanish, you already have a foreign accent. Adding a regional pronunciation to your foreign accent will make your speech even more distracting to a Spanish ear. And third, even if you're an elite speaker with little or no foreign accent, affecting a culturally or regionally specific pronunciation when you're not from the culture or region where the pronunciation originates may have unexpected effects in how native listeners perceive you. Alright, this has been our discussion of the DR cluster in Spanish pronunciation. I hope you found this explanation useful. If you've enjoyed this video, please give us a like and be sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on future content. If you have any suggestions for future videos, please ask in the comments. I'd be happy to consider making a video to answer your question.